Sorry about the interruption. I can't put it in airplane mode because I'm trying to upload some other ones. Probably nothing's going to work. Sorry about that. Okay, the minute he was put in bed on one side, he rolled out on the other and made for the door, only to be ignominiously caught up by the tail of his little toga and put back again, which lively performance was kept up till the young man's strength gave out, when he devoted himself to roaring at the top of his voice. This vocal exercise usually conquered Meg, but John sat as unmoved as the post. It's a wonder the little girl didn't wake up. Daisy, which is popularly believed to be deaf. No coaxing, no sugar, no lullaby, no story. Even the light was put out, and only the red glow of the fire enlivened the big dark, which Demi regarded with curiosity rather than fear. This new order of things disgusted him, and he howled dismally for Marmar as his angry passion subsided and recollections of his tender bond woman returned to the captive autocrat. The plaintive wail, which succeeded the passionate roar, went to Meg's heart, and she ran up to say beseechingly, "Let me stay with him. He'll be good now, John." "No, my dear. I've told him he must go to sleep, as you bid him, and he must, if I stay here all night." "But he'll cry himself sick," pleaded Meg, reproaching herself for deserting her boy. "No, he won't. He's so tired he'll soon drop off, and then the matter is settled, for he will understand that he has got to mind. Don't interfere. I'll manage him. He's my child, and I can't have his spirit broken by harshness. He's my child, and I won't have his temper spoiled by indulgence. Go down, my dear, and leave the boy to me." When John spoke in that masterful tone, Meg always obeyed and never regretted her docility. "Please let me kiss him once, John." "Certainly. Demi, say good night to Mama, and let her go and rest, for she's very tired with taking care of you all day." Meg always insisted upon it that the kiss won the victory, for after it was given, Demi sobbed more quietly and lay quite still at the bottom of the bed, whither he had wriggled in anguish of mind. "Poor little man, he's worn out with sleep and crying. I'll cover him and then go and set Meg's heart at rest," thought John, creeping to the bedside, hoping to find his rebellious heir asleep, but he wasn't. For the moment his father peeped at him, Demi's eyes opened, his little chin began to quiver, and he put up his arms, saying with a penitent hiccup, "Me's dead now." Sitting on the stairs outside, Meg wondered at the long silence which followed the uproar, and after imagining all sorts of impossible accidents, she slipped into the room to set her fears at rest. Demi lay fast asleep, not in his usual spread eagle attitude, but in a subdued bunch, cuddled close in the circle of his father's arm, and holding his father's forefinger, as if he felt that justice was tempered with mercy, and had gone to sleep a sadder and wiser baby. So held, John had waited with womanly patience till the little hand relaxed its hold, and while waiting had fallen asleep, more tired by that tussle with his little son than with his whole day's work. Keeping young'uns is work. As Meg stood watching the two faces on the pillow, she smiled to herself, then slipped away again, saying in a satisfied tone, "I never need fear that John will be too harsh with my babies. He does know how to manage them." And she should say our baby, shouldn't she? "And will be a great help, for Demi is getting too much for me." When John came down at last, expecting to find a pensive or reproachful wife, he was agreeably surprised to find Meg placidly trimming a bonnet and to be greeted with the request to read something about the election, if he was not too tired. John saw in a minute that a revolution of some kind was going on, but wisely asked no questions. Knowing that Meg was such a transparent little person, she couldn't keep a secret to save her life, and therefore the clue would soon appear. He read a long debate with the most amiable readiness, and then explained it in his most lucid manner, while Meg tried to look deeply interested, to ask intelligent questions, and keep her thoughts from wandering from the state of the nation to the state of her bonnet. In her secret soul, however, she decided that politics were as bad as mathematics, and that the mission of politicians seemed to be calling each other names. But she kept those feminine ideas to herself, and when John paused, shook her head and said with what she thought diplomatic ambiguity, "Well, I really don't see what we are coming to." John laughed and watched her for a minute as she poised a pretty little preparation of lace and flowers on her hand, and regarded it with the genuine interest which his harangue had failed to awaken. "She is trying to like politics for my sake, so I'll try and like Millery for hers." That's hats. That's only fair, thought John the Just, adding aloud, "That's very pretty. Is that what you call a breakfast cap?" "My dear man, it's a bonnet, my very best go-to-concert and theater bonnet." "I beg your pardon. It was so small I naturally mistook it for one of those flyaway things you sometimes wear. How do you keep it on?" "These bits of lace are fastened under the chin with a rosebud, so," and Meg illustrated by putting on the bonnet and regarding him with an air of calm satisfaction that was irresistible. "It's a love of a bonnet, but I prefer the face inside, for it looks young and happy again," and John kissed the smiling face, to the great detriment of the rosebud under the chin. "I'm glad you like it, for I want you to take me to one of the new concerts some night. I really need some music to put me in tune. Will you please?" "Of course I will, with all my heart, or anywhere else you like. You've been shut up so long it will do you no end of good, and I shall enjoy it. Of all things, what put it into your head, little mother?" "Well, I had a talk with Marmee the other day, and told her how nervous and cross and out of sorts I felt, and she said I needed change and less care. So Hannah is to save me with the children, and I'm to see things about the house. More, and now and then have a little fun, just to keep me from getting to be a fidgety, broken down old woman before my time. It's only an experiment, John, and I want to try it for your sake as much as for mine, because I've neglected you shamefully lately, and I'm going to make home what it used to be if I can. You don't object, I hope." Never mind what John said, or what a very narrow escape her little bonnet had from utter ruin. All that we have any business to know is that John did not appear to object, judging from the changes which gradually took place in the house and its inmates. It was not all paradise by any means, but everyone was better for the division of labor system. The children throve under the paternal rule, for accurate, steadfast John brought order and obedience into Babylon, while Meg recovered her spirits and composed her nerves by plenty of wholesome exercise, a little pleasure, and much confidential conversation with her sensible husband. Home grew homelike again, and John had no wish to leave it unless he took Meg with him. The Scots came to the Brooks now, and everyone found the little house a cheerful place, full of happiness, content, and family love. Even gay Sally Moffat liked to go there. "It's always so quiet and pleasant here. It does me good, Meg," she used to say, looking about her with wistful eyes as if trying to discover the charm that she might use in her own great house full of splendid loneliness, for there were no riotous, sunny little babies there, and Ned lived in a world of his own where there was no place for him. This household happiness did not come all at once, but John and Meg had found the key to it, and each year of married life taught them how to use it, unlocking the treasures of real home love and mutual helpfulness, which the poorest may possess and the richest cannot buy. This is the sort of shelf on which young wives and mothers may consent to be laid, safe from the restless fret and fever of the world, finding loyal loves in the little souls, the little sons and daughters who cling to them, undaunted by sorrow, poverty, or age, walking side by side through air and stormy weather with a faithful friend who is, in the true sense of the good old Saxon word, the house brand, and learning as Meg learned that a woman's happiest kingdom is home, her highest honor, the art of ruling it, not as a queen, but as a wise wife and mother. Phew! I could have got that done in one more thing if that alarm hadn't, or that message hadn't come up. Okay, finally finished with 38. Be sweet, don't be ugly. Hope to see you at 5. Bye-bye.